Hello, everyone. You know who this is. It's Valet Games. We are back to Unicorn Way. It's looking a little bit different than I remember. I wonder if they did indeed switch stuff up a little bit for the console releases. Yeah, easy peasy. I know they've admitted some of it's like bare bones code. They're like, we just did our best. And then this is the here you have the online aspect of it. These are just other people running around doing their quests. They gotta do the same thing I gotta do. So they can drop in and help, or they can, just run around and go do their own thing. I am curious about how the online stuff holds up on the Switch. He hasn't crashed my game, so doesn't seem to run much worse or any worse than it does on my PC. Okay, well, that's our first quest done, so now we gotta go turn that in. Private Connolly. But kind of continuing on from what I was saying last video where, my friend initially was the one who got me into this, but then, geez Louise. Quest, 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 quest. I'm getting bum rushed at the start here. Okay. Um, so then after my friend showed it to me, we ended up moving, right? So I couldn't hang out with him and play his Wizard 101 account anymore. So then when I was like middle school days, I finally got my first like school Gmail or fake email address or I don't know. But I remember I'd like stay up late and sneak onto the family computer. Um, Believe it or not every household had a bunch of devices back in the day. There used to be just one computer in a room, and that was the family computer. Yeah, I know how this works. Okay. Okay. I know how all this works. I think I have to click through it to get it out of here. No? I just can't use that yet? There we go. Now what? Oh, come on. Okay. Backpack. That's what we were looking for. So then that would lead into me sneaking onto the family computer and staying up till like 3 in the morning to play Wizard 101 and not getting enough sleep for school. And I guess that all culminates with me buying it on my Nintendo Switch and making a YouTube series on it, however many years later. Funny how the world works out sometimes. Skeletal pirate. There used to be quite a few of these um, when I was growing up, where you had Wizard 101 and then Pirate 101 was their like sister site that was going on at the same time. And then there's the Adventure Quest and Adventure Quest World games. Cartoon Network was always trying to make theirs, with whatever it was called, like the Cartoon Network All Stars, or they had some MMO like that. And then there was the like Bottle Babies, the candy had a website. Um, kind of unregulated advertising to kids, but it was quite the time to be alive. You got a lot of I imagine it was very akin to being a kid in the 90s probably and getting just like, oh, here's a Disney movie tie-in game and here's a movie tie-in game and here's a movie tie-in game. Where if you guys were alive during the PSP era, that was kind of really bad like that too. Where everything would get a movie tie-in, but then because all the consoles would graphically be have different capabilities, you'd get 8 different versions of the same game. And sometimes like different developers and publishers wouldn't be making, the same game to where it's a little ridiculous at certain times that someone should have sued them for false advertisement. It's like you play this game on the Wii and then you go and play it on the Xbox and it's entirely different. And then you go and play the DS version and it's also entirely different. But we also got a lot of creative ideas came about that way. I got some good childhood memories playing bad tie-in games. All that's to say, these used to be more commonplace. There's quite a few of them. National Geographic had their own called Animal Jam. If anyone remembers that, that was kind of like Club Penguin. Club Penguin was Disney's, like eventually they all ended up getting being bought out by these giant corporations, but again, this was like before everyone was on the internet, so it was like, oh, like a team made this and then it's just kids using it. And it's kind of before the, oh, now Disney bought it and now it's monitored and adults are on it and kids are, and just, I think that's kind of what the world is, not the world, but just kids are missing these days. Like, they don't have any spaces for just them, you know? That's why they don't go outside anymore, because they've been told that's adult space. We don't want you outside. And then they go inside, and the adults go, that's our space. What are you doing inside? And then they go on the internet, and now adults have come on the internet, you know? I do think that the teenagers, need a space, or the kids, the tweens, teens, need spaces that are just their own. Um, I'm kind of worried about, that for the future. Like, I'm sure there will be something that'll come along, there'll be that, but I had lots of experiences like that where all my best experiences as a kid weren't like being monitored by, you know, an adult. It always took place in spaces that was just for us that we made for ourselves. I don't remember school as much as I remember hanging out, you know, in someone's car during lunch. And the environment, like it becomes um you know like your version of a cafe, of the Friends Cafe. But there are no Friends cafes in real life, That's fiction. No one goes and sits in the cafe and hangs out together. Um, uh, what? I have to change this camera setting, sorry. But, that's kind of what being a teenager tween was about, was finding these spaces to get away from your parents and away from people, and where it's just your guys' space. And now those spaces have again been, I don't know how to fix that, I guess, have been invaded by adults and corporations and people looking to make a quick buck, and scarier stuff than that, you know, bad, real bad hombres, as our president would say, him being one of those real bad hombres. There's I wonder what the next spot will be that will just be theirs, and if they'll be allowed to have that. Because again, like those were my most memorable, experience. I want my kids to be able to have that. I just don't know if that's something that, is very realistic at this point. The world's the same, there's just less of it. And they're not giving it back. They're just paving it and turning it into more parking lots, you know? I'm sure it'll be fine. Everyone always thinks the world is ending, and we're still here. Stuff keeps spinning, but that's just something I've noticed that think about. Like even Fortnite, like kids loved the Fortnite, and now it's, oh, me and my girlfriend play Fortnite to unwind Friday night, Ninja immediately went, oh, I can profit off this. Became the biggest Twitch streamer, in recent memory. The kids aren't allowed to just have their own spaces that are just theirs. And I'm not, I get it. It is a dangerous world. You don't want unregulated children just in groups, because then one pedophile comes along and it's heyday. But you know what I mean. I'm not talking about, leaving your kids alone for 12 days in the Alaskan wilderness and letting them survive on their own. There's just like, there's no kid clubs. There's no like, even libraries. Like, libraries don't have a teen zone anymore half the time. And if they do, like, no one's using them? I know how that works. So, I wonder if something new will come along, or if they'll just go, well, everyone's on the internet, as a way to have our own space and be kids. We're gonna get off the internet and kids will be the ones offline again. I don't know. I do not know. I am very curious though, and it's something I think about frequently. Where like you never want to go to the teen zone when you're a teen, but then now that I'm, in my 20s, I'm like, man, I wish there were more teen zones I could have gone to. Not that I would have, but maybe I would have if they would have been there. I don't know, because they weren't there, you know? Um, but I think about that frequently. Just media and, culture has kind of tweens and teens and like early adults used to kind of have a relevancy and a place and they had their own stuff marketed towards them, and now it's just you're a kid or you're an adult. But we just finished that quest, and next up, it looks like we have Rattlebones, which is, I'm pretty sure, a boss quest. Looks like we're at 16 minutes, so we'll call it here. You guys know the drill. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscription, interact with the video. If you want, leave a comment. Tell me your Wizard 101 handle or add me and we'll play together. But as always, this has been Valet and I'll be here hanging out. See you next time.